Alrighty, I wanted to do a video today on why raise rabbits. And I know there's a lot of videos out there like this, and I'm probably repeating some of what a lot of people have said. Um, First thing I'm going to mention, if you want to make money off of it, you're in the wrong hobby. Breeding rabbits, selling rabbits, even if you're breeding more of kind of the unique breeds, really doesn't make you much profit, if at all. Mostly just because the feed cost of living space, your own time, things like that. Rabbits are really cheap, so I'm not saying that they're expensive. They are really cheap, but honestly, if you get into this hobby, you're more than likely to spend more money than what you earn. As in, if you buy a $35 rabbit off of Craigslist or from a friend, whatever it might be, yes, you can breed rabbits and breed and breed and breed and just continue getting money off of the babies. But likely, if you get a $35 rabbit, you're more than likely to be selling them for about $35. Now, the price of feed alone, I actually have a bag of feed that I use. I use Purina Shochow. I use Purina Shochow because it has a lot of fur additives to help with their fur. Really just kind of the lushness of their fur. I don't know if it actually does anything, but I feel like I've noticed something, but it may just be, the thought of it that's making me feel that way. But I feel like I've seen a difference in my fur, especially these Rex rabbits, just because they are a fur breed. By the way, I'm showcasing my new girl here. This is Mama Taco. I'm going to be creating not a colony, but I'm going to get a couple breeding trio of Rex rabbits just so I can breed for meat, which kind of brings us into our next topic, meat rabbits. They are an excellent source of protein, excellent source of meat in general. They're very easy to raise. Again, you fill up a thing of feed, and this isn't even a very large container of feed. You can have large enough containers of feed to last them a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, as much as you want. I know I've seen people who do primarily meat rabbits that do PVC pipe and do a large thing of PVC pipe and then kind of a tube upward that just holds a ton of feed, and that's supposed to last them like a month for 1 or 2 rabbits, but when they have babies, obviously it goes by a lot faster. And that's why, again, I mentioned that you really don't make money off of rabbits, because feed cost, when you have 1 or 2 rabbits, isn't that bad. It really isn't. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rabbits right now, and 4 babies back here, and hopefully a few more on the way. And honestly, I buy a bag of feed maybe once a month, but I also breed smaller breeds. So this is a really big breed. This is me touching her face with my hand on her back. She's a large breed. She's considered a large breed. She's a pretty big girl. This is the breed I normally work with. Oh, this is probably a really bad example. This is a baby rabbit. But this is a much better example. This is the breed I work with. And as you see, my hand towards his face is much smaller. He's about, a quarter of her weight. So he's a quarter of her size, and then that's a baby one. Those are Britannia Petites, and again, this is a Rex rabbit. She's for meat. Meat and fur. They have very lush, dense fur. But if you are in it for meat, they are a fabulous option to go to because they have an extremely high protein. They're extremely high in protein, so when you're feeding it to your family or just yourself, they're extremely high in protein. They also make great dog food if you want to go more of that natural way where you can make your own dog food kind of thing. I know they're extremely high in protein. Again, I'm going to mention that. And then, of course, contact your own vet and work with your own vet or nutritionist to provide a good, healthy, well-balanced meal for your dog. But if it's food for you and your family, again, very high source of protein. They are drier, so they aren't like chicken where they have a lot of moisture. And even it's more like a chicken breast rather than a chicken thigh. They're very dry meat, so I recommend cooking them in some sort of fat or oil. I've also heard smoker's really good. I personally haven't done that. I like to grind my rabbit meat up into sausage and then mix it with a little bit of pork, just a smidgen. It's mostly rabbit, but just a smidgen of pork, just because pork is so high in fat. But they're a great source of feed or food because, again, they're very cheap, very easy to take care of. This is a great example of a large stacker that I use. These are 30 by 24. They recommend a minimum of a 24 by 24 for this breed of rabbit. However, I do a 30 by 24 because I know she's going to be having babies, because I want to breed her. Hi, Lulu. But yeah, so meat rabbits are wonderful. They are very much cost effective just because for this bag of feed, which mind you is a 50-pound bag of feed, can again last her for well over a month if I just had her. If I had 3 Rex rabbits, I'd say about once a month I'd have to buy rabbit feed. And I'm estimating I don't have 3 Rex rabbits, and I have a lot more rabbits than just 3 like I counted. So it is going to be very much dependent on how much food they waste, as well as just your rabbits in general. They tend to eat more in the spring and fall, but during the summer they don't eat nearly as much just because it's so hot out. And that's the importance of ensuring that you're providing a good quality feed for them. But again, about $25 a month, and you can breed these guys almost once a month. So if you have them on a rotation where, let's say you have 2 does and a buck, you breed 1 doe 1 month, and then the next month when the other doe kindles, you breed another doe. You can have a good solid rotation of steady meat throughout the year. And that only takes really 2 does and a buck. And then, so for fur wise, I personally don't do this, but Rex rabbits are a great fur breed, as well as some other breeds are fabulous as well. Oh, look at that cheek. But other breeds such as satins, chinchillas can bring you some cool patterns. But fur is a great use for rabbits as well. Most people, when they want to do fur, they also usually tend to side towards the meat as well. I can't really say much on the fur. I've never done it myself, but I know that you can easily tan at home if that's something you're interested in for craft ideas and projects. The next option is kind of that kid option. This is a great introduction for kids to understand kind of that life, death, as well as just a fun pet. It's completely dependent on your own parenting and what you want to see your kids do. But they're a great pet. They make great pets. Great accountability as well, having the kids take care of them and understand the accountability piece of having another life around and stuff like that. But again, that's completely based off of your own parenting. They also make great 4-H pets. So for instance, if you have children that you would like to bring up in a 4-H or FFA environment, rabbits are a great option. They are one of the more difficult species to show, just because you have to have so much knowledge on them, but honestly it's a great learning opportunity for children. The next option is kind of that show option, which I tend to lean on just because I do show a lot. And that's honestly why I have so many rabbits, is because I have show breeds. And I tend to keep them pampered and well kept to send them to shows. Shows are a great option. Again, most people who grow up in 4-H tend to like to continue whether that be for the rest of their life or not. Sometimes it's even the parents. We notice that a lot of parents tend to, their kids fall off and go to college or whatever, and the parents really enjoyed that, so they end up joining ARBA, which is American Rabbit Breeders Association. It offers a great show environment. You get to meet a lot of people who enjoy the same hobby. It allows you to travel quite a bit because we have shows all over the U.S. As well as I've heard some in Canada, but I'm not familiar with other show strains elsewhere other than the U.S., so I can't really speak to that. But showing is a great hobby. It's fun to get out. Keeps you in the hobby. It allows you to do a lot. So for instance, this doe, I could breed her for meat purposes, and then I can also go and show her as well. Of course, maybe she's not going to win a prize ribbon or anything because she's kind of broody at that point. But it's still a great opportunity to keep you involved with your animals rather than just breed meat, breed meat, breed meat. And that's completely up to you. I enjoy it for the personal aspects. I get to meet a lot of new people. I get to experience a lot of new things. It just kind of opened up my world to people outside of just my neighborhood. So I enjoy it for that aspect. It also provides me a challenge to breed better and better and better. I will say it is very expensive, so if you want to stay on the cheaper side, I do not recommend really showing. You can do it for cheap, but if you want to be extremely competitive, it can be very difficult to continue that hobby for cheap. I do mine more as a hobby rather than super competitive. My animals definitely aren't going to be winning nationals or convention, but I stay relatively competitive in my own show string here in Idaho. At least in my opinion, I stay relatively competitive. Whether others agree is whatever, I guess. But yeah, so those are kind of your options. You have show, they're great for show and just staying in the rabbit hobby in general. So if you really liked 4-H, that might be a great option for you. Please do further research before just going out and buying a rabbit. There's different rabbits for different people. There's 51 breeds as of right now. Because the Czech Frosty, I believe, just got accepted into our standards. If I remember right, that was recent. There's 51 breeds, so definitely research your favorite breed. And then you also have your typical meat and fur. They make great pets and just responsibility for children. But yeah, so that's our video. And by the way, this is again Mama Taco. She will be having her own video here soon, since she's one of my new breeds in the barn. But again, Rex Rabbit, fabulous pet, fabulous meat breed. Personally, one of my favorite breeds, but we'll go over that later. You guys have a fabulous day, and thank you for watching.